Welcome to That Human Said What? The show where Michael Ryan and Christine Scott talk about UFOs, the paranormal, strange ideas, and the things that make you stop and say, wait a minute. And now from the Embarcadero Lounge, here are Michael and Christine.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Alan. I'm thrilled to be here, and today I'm going to be your guest interviewer. Since this show is all about unexpected things that humans say, I thought it was only fair to turn the tables on the people who usually ask the questions. So for this episode, I'll be interviewing our hosts, Michael Ryan and Christine Scott, the voices behind UFO Talker. They're on summer hiatus, so this is a perfect time to find out who they are when the microphones point the other way.
So, Christine, do I ever feel strange? It's really weird to be on this side of the microphone, as they say.
Oh, just roll with it. This is going to be fun.
I know. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Hopefully I'm going to find out something about myself.
Yes.
So I'm glad Alan is here. He is, we've had lots of conversations. He is so great. Okay, Alan, shoot us your first question.
What sparked your interest in UFOs?
Well, it's really interesting now because I own pretty much the oldest used bookstore in Saskatchewan. Kind of ironic. When I was a kid, my dad liked to take me to used bookstores. And there was one in particular, and, it was one of those huge, messy old used bookstores that had a little bit of everything. And for some reason, when I was about 10, I just developed a fascination with UFO books. And of course, the 70s was the golden age of cheesy UFO paperbacks. So I'm pretty sure that's where it started, reading all the classic paperbacks at an early age. And then it just continued from there. But I would have to say that's probably what started it for me.
And then my interest, we've actually done a show on it, but I'll just quickly go over it, is when I was about 8 years old, my mother and we actually saw a UFO from our backyard. And it was literally, 200 feet away, maybe 100 feet in the air. So very, very close. And that is, since that moment on, I have been totally fascinated. And that, I covered it in an episode. So if people want to hear that, you think I would have the episode handy off the top of my head, but I don't. But it's there somewhere near the beginning if you want to listen to it.
Mike, I think that was episode 2. I think your first episode was kind of like a trailer.
Yes, and I'm so...
Your second episode was your actual episode where you revealed that.
And I'm so happy that our guest interviewer knows more about the show than I do.
Well, I had to go back because you mentioned that you had talked about it in an earlier show, so I went back and found it.
Yes.
Okay, I guess, Michael, this is sort of for you, but how did you start the podcast UFO Talker?
Well, the reason why I started it, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this part before, so this is a good question. The reason why I started it is, as I mentioned, I've been totally fascinated by UFOs almost my entire life. And in the last few years before UFO Talker, I would listen to different UFO podcasts, and there are some good ones out there, but the bulk of them, like the large percentage of what is out there, were truly horrible. And I would listen to them and I would say, wow, I know a lot more than that person. And I just started to feel like I do have something to say because there's so much of it I felt was noise. So that's why I started UFO Talker. And after, I think, mainly season 1, I began to think of Christine. And the reason for that is I published a Laserdisc review magazine in the 90s. And Christine was one of the writers, and she had a column that she wrote also. And we used to have phone conversations because we'd talk about what Laserdisc she was going to review and all that. And those phone calls were really the precursor to UFO Talker. We just jived so well together. I thought, oh, this would be perfect. So that's how Christine got involved.
Before UFO Talker existed, who were you and what part of your background shaped the host you've now become?
Well, I've kind of talked about it on the podcast. Most people know I not only own a used bookstore, I've been an actress most of my life. I mean, I have a BFA. I've worked professionally as an actress since I was 16 and also a freelance writer. And directly leading into UFO Talker was writing for Home Movies magazine. I'd also worked in dinner theater. I've written scripts for dinner theater. I worked for, when I review books, they mentioned I used to work for Cracked Online. I wrote locally for the Prairie Dog magazine. So it all kind of works. Everything kind of pointed towards me doing what I do right now on UFO Talker, I think.
And then I worked for one company almost my whole adult life, luckily enough for me, but it was in logistics. But I think what prepared me more for a UFO Talker was in college. I started out my life to become a filmmaker. That was the original thought. And in my college years, I took journalism and just all those courses that you take when you're doing filmmaking and broadcasting and all that. So all of those courses, which I thought later, boy, why did I ever take this? So now it is useful. So many years later, I am using what I originally started out to do.
All right. So next question. What surprised you most once you started interviewing people about UFOs?
I think, and this really is a good question because this really surprised me. And it is that I have a lot more faith in people's sightings and encounters, because when you're reading a book or you're seeing it on a TV screen, there's some distance between you and the person recounting their experience. And I think it's a lot easier just to kind of dismiss it or be very judgmental on that kind of level. But when you start talking to the people like one-on-one, you get to hear how sincere the people are. They're people just like you. They're recounting these totally amazing things that have happened. And that has really changed me in how I feel about the people who've seen these things, because you just get, as you go through life, you get a feeling of who's making stuff up and who isn't. And I have just found that the majority of people that are mentioning their encounters and their sightings, I have a lot more faith and have a lot more belief in what they're saying than I ever did before.
What's one episode or guest that stayed with you long after the recording ended, and why?
Well, Jacques Vallée. I mean, Jacques Vallée.
Yes.
Being on the show. But I think we really have to talk about something that we thought, okay, we're going to interview this interesting author of a book. Everything that's been happening with our guest, the author Lynn Rule, with everything that's happened with her sighting and happened with something hitting her car. I think her case has spun off into something completely different. Wouldn't you agree, Mike?
Yes. It's just, she is just so captivating. Her story is so captivating. And as Christine and I have talked in the background, like off air, we both think this is a very, very dynamic case. I think it could be, I hate to use the expression, but it could be a game changer, because I think it needs to be researched more, because this could be the key to so many things, so many elements of the mystery, to say the least. The one case that really stayed with me for a long time afterwards was our show we did on the Rex Heflin case, the photos. And not only do I still feel to this day is probably one of the very best episodes of UFO Talker, but it just made me, hearing all the minute detail, because I thought I knew everything about the Rex Heflin case that you could ever know. And we did the deep dive into the research that was available. I discovered so many things I didn't know. And I thought, wow, this even bolsters his case even more. So that one really has really stayed with me.
Yeah, that was interesting. That's very interesting. Those pictures were pretty amazing.
Yes.
I personally believe those are not fake. Those are real myself. Okay, so here we go. Next question. What's the strangest or funniest behind the scenes moment that's happened while making UFO Talker?
Well, I think hands down the funniest thing was I was researching the country singer Casey Musgraves. Yes,
I know where this is going.
I looked her up a little while ago, and I have her name ready because that's the same for me. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Oh yeah, but that's exactly the effect this had on everyone, because everybody commented on this as being the funniest thing they ever heard on the show. For people who didn't catch the episode, the country singer Casey Musgraves, who is a Grammy winner, obviously a person of repute and renown, a plane she was on was followed by a UFO. And of course, she was very alarmed. She was very concerned for people's safety. And she was extremely concerned when the pilot said this happened all the time. So she went everywhere talking about her sighting. She was very public. And someone, I can't remember the guy's name, but
Nick West.
That's it, yeah. Tried to debunk her, and she just clapped back. But I also saw a Bigfoot riding your mom.
Yeah, it was like I think the quote was like, if you zoom in on the upper right hand corner of my picture, you'll see Bigfoot.
Yes.
I laughed so hard that night. I listened to it. I was in my bed, falling asleep listening to your podcast, and I had tears in my eyes.
And I think everybody had that reaction. I mean, I was so surprised when I read it. I didn't even have time to laugh, and Mike completely lost it.
I know. So Christine warned me in advance. She said, I'm just going to read something to you. And so I didn't think anything of it. I thought, oh, she's just going to read something I'm not aware of or whatever. And to me, that came right out of left field. And it was so utterly funny. Oh my God. It seemed like I laughed for minutes after she said it, but I heard back from a lot of people who said that was very, very funny.
And who would have thought? Casey Musgraves.
I know, yeah. Who would have thought that? Now
the things we want to say to Mick West.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
The strangest thing that ever happened to me, and this is kind of telling stories out of school a little bit. So I won't mention the person's name, but is a very famous ufologist. And when I was setting up the interviews with this gentleman, who I super have admired for a long time, we had a few emails and calls before the actual interview date. And during the phone calls, I think there was at least a couple of them, I even hate to say this, but he came off as being really, really rude and really disinterested. And I began to wonder if I should go ahead with the interview, because I thought, wow, if this is the way he's going to answer my questions, this is going to go nowhere. And oddly enough, when we did the interview and I read my introduction, it was like click, and he was a different person, and it was excellent all the way through. And that was the weirdest thing. I've never had another guest like that was able to turn it on and turn it off like that. And I'm not going to mention his name.
No, but you know what also I remembered, Mike? There was a couple times you and I were talking, and it went beyond a certain point, and we were going on and on after the recording, just hashing things over. And all of a sudden, we completely lost contact a few times. And so we were joking it was the Men in Black.
That's right. That's actually happened several times.
Yeah.
Over the last few seasons.
Next question. What's something listeners would be surprised to learn about you? Something that never comes up on the show?
Well, a lot of people don't know this about me. My name is Christine Scott, but it's not my real name. And that has nothing to do with my acting career. I am so Ukrainian. I'm Ukrainian on both sides. And when I was born in a place in Saskatchewan called Yorkton, which has a big Ukrainian population. And my birth name was Christine Marie Herechka. But my dad, when we moved to Regina, thought that was a bit too ethnic and changed our last name to Scott. So I get all these people going, hey, are you related to Mike Scott or Leanne Scott? And it's like, no. I am so Ukrainian. I am 100% on both sides. So I don't know, actually, it's, a few of my friends know that. It just doesn't really come up. But when you tell people, they say, did you change your name because you were an actress? And I said, oh, no, I was like 3 when my name changed.
This was a very good question. And I had to ask Joy what she thought, because there was a few ideas I was coming up with. And then she mentioned something, and I thought, oh, that's it exactly, because it's so different from how I am today, but I actually know how to do this, and that is I know how to surf.
That doesn't surprise me, because your dad was a surfer, wasn't he?
Yes, and growing up in Huntington Beach, California. And so all of my friends that I have now are just looking at each other going, he surfs? Because I haven't done it for a long time.
Known that. Wow.
I haven't done it for a very long time, but I thought, yeah, that's something no one would know and be probably really shocked.
Well, growing up in Huntington Beach, as you've talked about, I guess that makes sense.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right into the next question. If you could interview anyone, living or dead, about UFOs, who would it be and why?
Well, I have a split decision on that. J. Robert Oppenheimer, because I reviewed an interesting book for the show, which put forward the thesis that he was involved in the Roswell crash. And if you've seen the Oppenheimer movie, basically the hearing that he's at the end, there were never any transcripts of that hearing. So what you see in the Christopher Nolan movie is all Nolan's invention. And the thesis put in the book was that was actually a hearing about his security clearance over UFOs, because he thought it would be a superior energy source, hence Louis Strauss going at him from the Energy Commission. Which it was a fascinating book, and I went, yeah, I would really like to know what happened there. Or, of course, Dwight Eisenhower, because there's so much about him, things he saw, things he did. So for me, it would be split between those two guys.
For me, it would be Captain Edward J. Ruppelt, who wrote the book on UFOs. I just thought he was a fascinating guy. He was one of the first people that really I saw as somebody who knew a lot about UFOs. And I don't know, I just have a lot of questions I would love to ask him.
What's one UFO case or mystery you wish more people knew about?
There is one case, I'll just kind of backtrack and say, when Mike started doing, we did a lot of the declassified UFO files. He was shocked how many involved Saskatchewan. Mike even made a comment at one time, is Saskatchewan a UFO hotspot?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and there was this really, really interesting case around Moose Jaw that he was trying to find witnesses in and trying to find more people to come forward. And it is literally one of the creepiest things I have ever heard. But we can't talk about it because there's nothing we can present on the air. And you know the one I mean,
yes.
Mike.
Yeah.
That is the creepiest UFO story I've ever heard.
The one that I think that more people should know about, and this I really, really, truly believe, is an episode we did, and it was called The Star Blanket Encounter. Mm-hmm. And this happened in Saskatchewan. And I love this story because if it really got out with a lot of the witnesses talking about it, it would be considered one of the biggest UFO encounters ever, not just in Canada, but anywhere. And it took place near a First Nations reservation. And what happened was it ended up 4 RCMP officers, 15 members of a emergency team that they normally coordinated when a plane crashed, and about 40 to 60 First Nations people all saw this 150-foot wide UFO, which was hovering about 20 or 30 feet off the ground. And this was for a couple of hours. And it was in the winter, so there was snow, and they had snowmobiles, and they were trying to chase it across a field, and it would play cat and mouse with them. So much documentation, so many people seeing it and looking at it through binoculars, and they could see portholes on the UFO. It would be one of the greatest cases ever talked about, and I wish more people would know about it.
That sounds very amazing. I'm going to have to quiz both of you on your answers, because I want to know more about these cases. Okay, next question. When you imagine the future of UFO Talker, what do you hope the show becomes, or what impact do you hope it has?
I just hope, personally, that it's seen as a quality podcast. The rest of it is really up to Mike. I'm still so pleased that he invited me along to be a part of it. I'm still so grateful. So I think he has the vision moving forward, I would say.
I think so. We're not, when I say this, we're not done yet. We're going to be around for a bit longer, but I think what we have tried to do is highlight, really interesting people, really interesting stories, and not be too sensational, and not doing this all just for clicks and see how many dollars we can make from advertising revenue.
So we've got to the point now we're going to get into a little bit of a lightning round, okay? So sort of a general lightning round for both of you, and then we'll move into a mini lightning rounds that's will be tailored for each one of you, okay?
I think it feels like I'm on Password, the old Password show.
We need some sort of like game show sound effect in the background. You're really good with all that stuff, Michael. Maybe you can add that in post-production.
Yes.
Okay, so first question, simple. Coffee or tea, and how do you take it?
I like both. I would have to say I prefer coffee with milk or cream.
Green tea, no sugar, no cream.
Christine, no sugar in your coffee?
Nope.
What's your go-to comfort movie?
This is making someone I know right now laugh really hard, how much I like disaster movies and depressing movies and post-apocalyptic movies. But I really like the movie 2012. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, I'm not familiar with that movie.
Well, it's nope. Roland Emmerich does these massive end of the world movies. And it's probably the biggest one ever made. And for some reason, I can just watch that movie over and over again. It just checks all my boxes.
My film is, which I was looking at earlier today, not the whole film, but parts of it, is from 1967, The Flim Flam Man. And that is starring George C. Scott and really underrated actor Michael Sarrazin. And there is just something so great about this film, and also I have vivid memories of watching it in the movie theater as a kid. That is my go-to film.
Can I tell you something really weird about Michael Sarrazin?
What?
I mentioned how I was Ukrainian on both sides. And my mom at one point, her last name was Skilnik, and my dad's was Hrechka, which means buckwheat. And she happened to mention Michael Sarrazin's name is actually pronounced Sarazin in Ukrainian, and it means buckwheat.
Wow.
So she keeps saying, you might be related to him, Christine.
Well, he was from Montreal.
I know Michael Sarrazin from They Shoot Horses, Don't They, with Jane Fonda.
Oh, yeah. I loved him in that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next question. What's a hobby you love that has nothing to do with UFOs?
Well, I obviously love to read and go to movies, and I like stray cats, but Mike knows I love to cook and bake.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Mine is, believe it or not, woodworking. which I've been doing for probably over 40 years.
Gonna have to see some pictures of that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so next question: early bird or night owl?
I would say I'm an early bird. I get up early and accomplish a lot. But if I'm really dragging and I don't want to go to work the next day, I try and stay up as late as I can and drag my feet.
And I am a night owl. I usually go to bed around 1 o'clock, but if I didn't have things to do the next day, I could stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning.
One food you could eat every day?
Any fruit or any chocolate.
Mine would be Mexican food.
Oh, yes.
You should be living where I live. My goodness.
Well, I could probably eat sushi every day. I never thought of that, but I do love sushi.
For those of you that don't know, I live in Southern California. Okay, so a book you've reread more than once.
Again, being teased right now in my life about liking depressing things. Fahrenheit 451 in 1984, I have read several times.
I really like Hunter Thompson's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I love that book.
All right, next question. If you could instantly master any skill, what would it be?
Home repair. I have.
That's not very specific, Christine.
Yeah, well, Mike has been hearing all about. I had my sewer line dug up in my house, and then they have to move into my yard. So I've just been splashing out a lot of money. And I thought, I'd sooner leave it to the professionals, but I have no skills in that area whatsoever.
If I could master any skill, it'd be playing the guitar. So I have a guitar, and I know how to play it a little bit, but certainly have not mastered it.
I actually play a little bit of guitar myself,
Nice.
but haven't mastered it. But next question. What's the last thing that made you laugh?
The movie The Nice Guys was recommended to me, and I never laugh out loud during movies. I was laughing within the first 5 minutes.
And I watch so often, I'll watch these on YouTube, is Don Rickles on Johnny Carson, because I just immediately laugh the entire time. That if the clip's 5 minutes, I'm laughing for almost all 5 minutes.
He was funny. Favorite places you've ever visited?
Well, I love visiting my friends in Toronto and in Halifax, but the most breathtaking place I ever visited was Newport, Rhode Island, where they have all the big mansions. I can't even describe how incredible that was.
And mine is Catalina Island off the coast of Southern California. I've been there several times. Absolutely unbelievable. There's something that transcends even the physical property. There's a vibe or something, but I just love that place.
There's a tale that possibly there's an underwater UFO base near there.
Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's it. One thing you must have in your workspace.
Well, I never owned a cell phone previously, but right now I find it really comes in handy if I'm stressed during the day and I need to look at kitty pictures online.
And then for me, I must have blank paper and a pen.
Oh, me too, actually. I'm huge on that.
Interesting. Old school. I love it. Okay, so describe yourself in 3 words.
I am ride or die. I am the most loyal person you'll ever met. If you're my friend or something else, I am loyal to a fault.
Now, this one was hard for me to think up, and this could be a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I thought of a fun guy.
Not to be confused with a mushroom, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so a song you never skip.
Okay, this will really date me, but Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana.
Oh, nice. I had to think about this one for a long time. I actually have 2 songs. One of them that I can never skip no matter what's happening is Wild Horses by the Rolling Stones and Riders on the Storm by the Doors. who I instantly loved that song, and it every time since I've heard it since then, when it first got released, it gets deeper and more meaningful every time I hear it.
Classic songs. Love it. All right, so guys, we've now hit the mini lightning rounds, and the first group of questions, 5 questions, will go to Michael, okay? And here we go. So what's the first UFO book that you ever bought?
It was, we've already kind of mentioned it a little bit, but it's The Report on Unidentified Flying Objects by Edward J. Rappelt.
What's your favorite decade for UFO cases and why?
100% the 60s, because it just seemed like there was things happening all the time, and some of the most dramatic things that have ever happened in ufology.
Okay, so if you could time travel to witness one historical UFO event, which one would you pick?
And this isn't going to surprise anyone either, is the Rex Heflin encounter. Oh, if I could have been there in the cab of that truck when he saw that.
What's your comfort food during late night editing sessions?
So this is going to surprise everyone. I do not eat after 7 p.m., so I have no comfort food at nighttime.
All right, so what's the one thing Christine does on the show that always makes you laugh?
So this, I think this could be a separate show, actually, is when she over the years has told me all of the strange questions that she gets from customers at her bookstore. Those are very funny. That needs to be a separate podcast or a book or something.
Very good, very good. Okay, so Christine, it's your turn, okay?
Okay.
All right, so what's the first UFO story that genuinely gave you chills?
Well, when I was a kid reading those UFO books, the one that scared me, there's a famous encounter called the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter. They also call it the Hopkinsville Goblins case. It was a claimed close encounter with extraterrestrial beings. It was near the communities of Kelly and Hopkinsville in Kentucky in 1955. It was basically people claimed humanoids were invading their house. They saw a lot of goblin-like creatures outside of the house. It's also called the Kelly Green Man case. I guess they said that they claimed creatures from a spaceship were attacking their farmhouse and that they had held them off with gunfire. And of course, when you're a 10-year-old kid, you're thinking, that is the scariest thing I have ever heard.
So what case file or witness type fascinates you the most?
Well, after that, anything where people claim they have seen a being or a humanoid. I don't know if you've seen the Turkish UFO case, where you observe a saucer and there's like a little dome on top and you can clearly see 2 heads inside of it. That has just fascinated me.
Oh, the one that's zoomed in really close?
Yes. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's interesting. Really interesting. Okay. What's your favorite way to unwind after recording an episode?
I tend to obsessively check my socials. And if I have time, watch an episode of one of my TV series before I go to bed.
Last question. What's one thing Michael does on the show that always cracks you up?
Well, we make each other laugh a lot, but a mutual thing we laugh a lot about is our shared obsession with food.
Yes. Bakeries.
Bakeries. We love talking about food. We love talking about bakeries. And he'll say something and I'll start saying, hey, I think I know what that recipe is. We can just talk about food and go on and on. I think that's really funny.
Well, Michael, Christine, thank you for letting me turn the tables today. Your listeners know your voices, but now they know a little more about the humans behind them. I think that's a perfect way to spend a summer hiatus. Thanks for being such good sports.
Well, thank you. That was so much fun.
And thank you, Al. That was great. It's always great to answer questions about yourself where you think, wow, like, is that me? And so I actually really enjoyed it. And also, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe Al will be back at some point in the future.
Oh.
I hope so. This was fun.
Yes.
That sounds exciting. Oh my gosh.
So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
The opinions expressed by the Martini Guy are his own and may have been influenced by one too many olives. That's all for tonight's conversation. Thanks for spending a little time with Michael and Christine. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, leave a comment, and join us again next time. Until then, keep wondering about the world, keep asking questions, and remember, sometimes the most interesting things in life are the things we can't quite explain. This has been a Michael Ryan production. A ring-a-ding-ding!